Welcome back to Arc Salt Lake on your Friday morning. Time right now is 7:31. Flock cameras have certainly been in the news headlines recently. They are used within police departments and other agencies to track cars and are considered an important piece of technology in that work. Joining us now is Kenneth Marino, who is an assistant professor at the Kahlert School of Computing at the University of Utah, to talk about this technology. First of all, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so flock cameras, people hear about them. Explain what these really are. How do they work?
Okay, so the technology we're talking about are the flock license plate reader cameras. So these are typically fixed cameras which are pointed at a road, and what the company says they do with these cameras is they take pictures of license plates as they're passing on the freeway. This information is then kept and retained by the company, and that data is then shared with law enforcement agencies.
And those law enforcement agencies use that information to do what?
Well, they can use it for all sorts of things. So law enforcement agencies use it to, if they have an APB out on a suspect, they can put the license plate in the system, and they'll get some kind of alert if the license plate is found.
What are some of the concerns here?
Yeah.
Maybe the concerns that people have, maybe they've articulated them, but also maybe some that you could tell us that haven't been articulated. What are the concerns?
Yeah, so I think some of the concerns is like to what extent these cameras can be used. So from a technical perspective, it is just a camera that is collecting images and video. So Flock will, and I believe they are now saying that they're going to restrict what they collect even more, but it is just a camera, so anything that you can collect with a camera, you could potentially collect with this technology. So modern computer vision is very advanced. It's able to, from an image, recognize people's faces. You could even zoom in to see what people have on their phones. So from a technology perspective, you can learn quite a lot from an image. So I think the concern people have is they don't know what is being collected, or maybe they don't trust what the company says about what they're collecting.
And we should, you just brought that up, I should make people aware. Flock did make some news yesterday, or in just the last couple days, saying we're going to restrict some information. I know you looked at that as well. What did you find out?
Yeah, I mean, all I've heard is from the reporting that they say they're going to limit the amount of time they keep information on the cameras. But I think it does point to a larger issue, which is that I think that people feel like they haven't been included in the discussion about what's being collected. So there's been no public law or discussion about what kind of data can be collected even on public roads. So the last time that the U.S. Congress passed a major privacy bill was in 1988. And the thing that it prevented was the government from looking at your VHS rental history. So if your audience doesn't know what a VHS is, that might tell you how long ago the public has really publicly debated what kind of information is collected and stored about them.
So please correct me if I'm wrong, but one issue here is that agencies or cities or municipalities across the country could have their own different policies with what they're doing with this stuff, right?
Right. And one concern is this is a private company we're talking about, and there is no law that prevents how this information is shared. So one thing that has been reported is that federal law enforcement agencies have gotten information from these cameras that were used by local law enforcement. So there's no legal restriction from or there's no legal restriction saying which agencies can retain or use what information when. So I think part of the problem that people are feeling is they're not sure who is going to use this data. And I should say another issue is we are in a very interesting place with respect to hacking. So AI technology has, specifically for hacking systems, has gotten a lot more advanced. And what that means basically is the skill barrier for hacking things like, for instance, flock cameras has gotten much, much lower. So a relatively unsophisticated hacker could potentially hack systems. And so I think some people are concerned if this data is being collected, even if you trust the government, like if this information can be hacked, potentially malign actors could access a lot of this information.
I think most people could certainly understand the concerns. It is true also that crimes have been solved, suspects have been caught because of these cameras, right?
Yeah, undeniably. I mean, I think this is the original marketing for these cameras. It is quite useful to law enforcement if they're looking for a specific car that is suspected of a crime. Being able to find it quickly, I can imagine, is very helpful for law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. One argument that I've also heard, and I want you to kind of elaborate this, tell me what you think. Well, there are surveillance cameras everywhere. What's different about these, basically? Can you talk about how you would address sort of that viewpoint, basically?
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that's changed, and this is where what we've seen in the changes of AI has happened, which is that it's just much easier to collect specific information from lots of data collection. So if, like, for instance, in the 80s, if you wanted to find a suspect from a camera that was mounted at a convenience store, you had to physically go to that location, you pull the tape, and somebody had to go and watch it to try to find the information you need. But now with computer vision, you can, if you have a list of suspects, you can just say, okay, just scan all of these thousands of hours of video and find these specific people. So I think the technology has changed in maybe just the last 10 years. This technology has made it much easier to use a lot of surveillance video in ways that just weren't possible before.
Kenny, we just have a little bit of time left, so I want to end with this. Where do you see this going? Do you see national laws coming out of this, local laws? Where do you see this all heading?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing, and I don't want to tell anyone how they should feel about privacy, but it seems like that people are concerned about this. So what I at least hope is that people will continue to talk to their legislatures, continue to discuss it, and I think ideally, a law is a good vehicle for the public to make its voices and values heard on these issues.
Mm-hmm. So certainly haven't heard the end of flock cameras, probably.
I don't think so.
I mean, the fact that Flock even addressed this yesterday, it shows that, there's a lot of attention on it, basically.
Yeah.
All right. Kenneth Marino, thank you so much for coming in and talking about this.
Yeah, thanks.
It can be a complicated topic, so we thank you for kind of deciphering it for us.
Thanks.
All right. Remember.